Hi everybody, Chris AMS, hope you're all well. Welcome to another video. Sorry I haven't been on for a little while. We are a very busy workshop and I try and fit these videos in kind of around what we're doing. But today we've got an interesting fault. We have a 2004 Audi A8 in behind us. It's been transported down from Gloucestershire apparently to another garage that have looked after it for a few years, or years previously, and the wipers don't work. No wipers and no washers don't work, or they work intermittently according to the other garage. It was pouring it down with rain yesterday and they had to wait until the wipers decided to start working again in order to get it to us. So we've got that in, we've got it in, and we're going to have a look at it and see if we can find out what the problem is. So follow along and let's see if we can fix it. So this is the car. It's got a 4-litre V8 engine in it. I bet that drinks a bit of fuel. I've gained access to the wiper motor so we can do some tests under there. But our first step in testing, obviously, is to make sure that we can recreate the problem. Now, this car, it looks like somebody lives in it. So I'm hoping that there's nothing behind the glove box that I've got to get to, because yeah, I don't like pulling other people's stuff out of vehicles. It's icky. Right, so in order to test the wipers and the washers, we need to know that the bonnet's shut. So what I've done is I've latched down the bonnet latches. So if you can see on the dashboard there, it's seeing the bonnet in the closed position. So if we work the washers first, I'm pulling the switch, nothing on the washers. Put the wipers on the full, nothing on the wipers either. So obviously we've confirmed that we've got a fault, which is great. So it's in a testable position. Let's have a look and see what we can find next. So we've broke out the topped-on Phoenix Smart today for this test. It's carrying out a code scan of the vehicle. I quite like this tool for the fact that it's got the topography of the various ECUs laid out nicely on the screen for us to see. So we're going to let that finish its code scan. I always like to do a code scan as a first step, just to see if it gives us any guidance of where to look. So we'll let that finish its scan, and then we'll see if we've got any fault codes referring to our wiper issue. So our code scan is completed. You can see all the red ones there. We've got lots of faults in various different systems, but do any of these apply to what we're looking at? So looking down at the engine management system's got 6 fault codes in it, nothing to do with what we're looking at. Transmissions, a few codes, brake electronics, component protection, nothing in there, nothing in the cluster. Obviously nothing in the sound system, and nothing in the parking brake. And the rest of the systems on the vehicle are clear. So our scan tool hasn't given us any help so far in narrowing down the problem. Now our wipers and washers and stuff like that are going to be controlled by the central electronics module here. So we're going to go into that, and then we're going to have a look through the system and see if there's any live data that may assist us. So in the module, I am struggling with the topped-on to get any live data, and I can't do any actuator tests, or it's not letting me do the actuator tests. We'll try it with another couple of tools. I'll let you know how we get on. So our scan tool hasn't been a massive amount of help so far in our diagnosis. Let's have a look at the wiper motor itself. Now, the customer, having had a wiper motor failure or wiper stopped working, has assumed that the wiper motor was the problem and has replaced the unit with a used component. So he's already changed out the motor. Now whether that new motor that he's fitted, or used motor that he's fitted, is any good or not, who's to tell? But we need to do some checks, and I think the best place to start is at the motor itself, and then we'll work back from there. So let's get a wiring diagram up and we'll have a look and see how how this thing's laid out. So we're using E3 Technical for our technical data today. This is the wash wipe system for this Audi, and if we zoom in here on the center here, M57, this component here is our wiper motor. So you can see the motor portion of it there, and this is a control module. This is a control module inside the wiper motor, so it has its own module. Coming off of terminal 3 of the wiper motor, we can see our washers. So in order for the washers to work, it has to go through the wiper motor first. So if you've got a faulty wiper motor, for example, then that could be killing the signal to the washers, or it could be something else. So that's getting controlled by E6, which is classed as our power supply control unit. So we'll need to look a bit more into that. But what we can see, basically what we can see from here is that we've got power in on terminal 1, which is a red and green wire. The brown wire will be ground, and it shares the ground with the wiper motor and the washer pump. They're shared ground. This is a power supply coming in to the washer pump. So it comes out of the wiper motor into the washer pump, and this, I'm betting, and we'll have a look in a sec, is a LIN bus controlled wiper motor. So it uses a network signal to control the wiper motor. So let's have a look at what we've got at the wiper motor. So let's get a look at this wiper motor of ours. Now our wiper motor sits under the scuttle panel, which is right there, as you can see. And yeah, so we've got a multi-plug up here, which has got 4 wires running to it. It's another indication that it's a network controlled wiper motor. A standard wiper motor would have more wires on it. You can see all the yellow paint and stuff on it, indicating it's a used component. The fins on here, the heatsink on there, kind of indicate it's computer controlled a little bit as well. All right, so we can see on there, I don't know how close, that you've got a red and green there, a brown. That wire there is our washer pump, and this little diddly little wire at the bottom there is our network control. All right, so let's see if we've got powers and grounds first, shall we? So I'm going to pull this, I'm going to start off, I think I'm going to pull the multi-plug, all right, because I want to see what's going on. One, it would be nice to see if there's any corrosion inside this multi-plug. So you can see there, let's see if we can get a bit of light on the subject. There. Oh, you can see that a bit better. So yeah, so the multi-plug is clean, there's no corrosion in it. So let's start by checking powers and grounds. So I've got my power probe lead coming off of the battery in the boot, because this vehicle, as far as I can tell, doesn't have any jump start positions under the bonnet, which is really annoying, because the boot's about as good as the rest of the car for crap in it. So that's into the negative of the power probe lead. Now if I put that in the positive, you can see that I've tested my test light. I know my test light works. The ignition's on, so we're going to go into terminal 1, which is the red and the green wire. Just touch it on the end there, and you can see I've got good power. All right, test light lights up nice. We'll move over to the positive. I'm going to check the ground side, and you can see there as well we've got a good ground. Okay, so we know the power and ground into the motor are okay. So we've got 2 wires down, 2 left to go. So our third one, and it'd be an interesting test to see, is our washer pump. So this grey and red wire here goes to our washer pump. So it sends a signal out to the washer pump, so we can put power down that, and we can see if our washers work, and that will prove that that circuit is okay or not okay. Let's do that next. So all I'm going to do in this instance, I'm going to cheat. Yeah, probably not the best way to do it. I've got one of my test leads, I've put it into the power side of my power probe. Be very careful when you're doing stuff like this, make sure you know what you're doing, because you really don't want to be activating components or putting power into things you don't know when you don't know that you're doing it right. So all I'm going to do is touch the end of the grey and the red wire like that, and our washers are working. As you can hopefully see, let's turn that way, you can see them rock. So all I've got to do is touch it, washers work, okay? So, that's showing up that from our wiper motor down to the washers, that circuit's all okay. So whatever's causing the washers not to work is because it's not making it through the wiper motor. So it still could be a control problem. Our last wire that we need to have a look at is our LIN bus control signal. So in order to look at that properly, we're going to need to break out the oscilloscope. So let's get the oscilloscope out and see what we can see with that. So we're going to use our snap-on Zeus, the scope on the snap-on Zeus, to carry out our test on the network side of things. So if we go into scope, lab scope, and 4-channel scope, then we'll have our thing set up. Now, LIN bus runs on a 12-volt scale. All right, so it goes between 0 and 12 volts. It's a digital signal, and it sends a network. Yeah, connects it via a network to the body control module. In this case, it's a master and slave system. It's not like CAN, where communication goes backwards and forwards and leftwards and sideways. It's kind of a master-slave situation. So the earth side of our scope is attached to the earth of the battery via our power probe lead, and we're going to use the yellow channel to check the signal output of the LIN bus signal. So we're plugged in, back probed in. Okay, so let's have a look at our scan tool. So that's set up. I'm going to save that there so I can highlight it on the screen for you. Now that's sitting at about 10 volts. Now that should be bouncing between 0 and 12 volts, a nice clean signal. So that's indicating to me that our LIN bus signal is shorted to positive. Let's unplug the wiper motor and see if that makes any difference to our signal. Let's set you up there, see if I can. Do you know what, let me unplug it and we'll have another look. So our component is disconnected. We're still back probed into the LIN signal wire, and again we've got, let's save that for you. We are up at 10 volts, so that's showing again a short positive. So we know without a good LIN signal that we are not, that wiper motor isn't going to work, and it's not going to work the washers either. So we need to find, there's a short somewhere. Is it the component at the other end? Is it something coming out of the body module, or is it a wiring problem somewhere along the line? So let's have a play about and see what we can find. So if we look at our scope, we've just had a bit of a wiggle round near the wiper motor, the wiring harness near the wiper motor. Now you can see, let's see if I can get that in a bit. That's on a 5-second. Let's come in like that, okay? We can see that we are now getting something more like what we should be as a LIN bus signal, okay? Now let's come back out to 5, because that actually looks quite good like that, with that there like that. So, see, and then we lose it, and then it comes back, and then we lose it, and then it comes back. Now let's set the camera up so you can see. And we're going to go zoom in. Zoom. And hopefully you can see that. Okay, and I'm going to have a wiggle around with the wiring. Oh, so we've lost it completely. That's gone completely short to what have you. Oh, see, now I'm wiggling around just underneath the wiper motor, okay, and that is obviously having an effect on our component. I'm going to try to open the torch and see a bit better. I have a very sneaky suspicion that we got some chafage going along somewhere underneath where this wiper motor is. So I'm inclined, I think, as a next step in testing, to gain a bit of better access so we can see what we're doing is we're going to pull that wiper motor out so we can get to the wiring underneath it and have a bit of a better wriggle around. Sorry, I ain't got my teeth in today. And get a better look at that wiring harness. Well, that was a palaver. Sometimes when you just want to do a nice, simple, easy test, you end up stripping half the world apart just to do it. So our wiper motor is out. We had to take all that stuff off first. To get it out, there's a big bracket that sits across the middle there that bolts into our suspension turret. So we had to take the top turret bolts and stuff out so we could finally gain access or take the motor out to gain access. So if the old boy done it himself, fair play to him. Fair play to him. Right, so let's have a cheeky visual inspection under where that wiper motor is sitting, and I think you'll see something interesting straight away. Let's get the torch in there and see if we can stick it to, there's nothing metal on this car, nothing at all. Right, so if we go in, just there's a big groove in the wiring harness. I can definitely see a grey wire, which is probably a washer wire that has chafed through, but the wiper motor has been rubbing, the arm has been rubbing against that and it's worn all the way through that wiring harness. So we need to open this up where it goes through the bulkhead and see if it has actually damaged our LIN bus wire, and if so, we need to repair that and then we can retest it. So we found something, that's good. Let's move on to our next step and open that harness up, shall we? So our wire and the harness, we've chopped away a bit back there, and right in here, that's where our little nick in our washer wire is. This yellow wire here is our LIN bus control. Now, if we look at the LIN bus control wire at the minute, I've got the ignition on, we've got nothing. If I give this a wiggle around, you can actually see you start to make a connection. And the reason that now has just gone dead is because of where I've wiggled it, it's broke the wire. And if you, unfortunately, you're probably never going to be able to pick this up on the camera. I'll see if I can take a nice image with my other camera. There's green in the inside of the wire, so the wire is corroded out and snapped, and that's why we're getting so weird readings on our LIN bus signal. So we need to cut this back so we got some good wire to carry out a nice repair on that, and then we will plug it all back in and test it and see if everything works. Right, so we've carried out our wiring repair, as you can see down there. What I've done is added a little bit of extra wiring to the harness just so it doesn't catch or snag and doesn't run tight along the along where it needs to run, because obviously it's had to be shortened a bit to cut out the greenness in the wire. So that's all wired in. So what we've got to do now is test it. So we're connected in, I've got the wiper motor connected out on the thing. I'm connected into the LIN bus in the back of the multi-plug. Let's turn the ignition on and see what we got. So on the screen there you can obviously see we're getting a good LIN bus signal. The battery voltage is a little bit low, so that's not really helping us. So let's zoom out a bit. So yeah, obviously that's not giving you necessarily the greatest view of it, but we are getting a LIN bus signal there. Now, the ultimate test is, does it work? So let's hop you up on there so you can see what's occurring. Okay. Here's our wiper motor. And I'll hold that up there so it don't damage anything. See that? And then all verky. And then we'll try the washers. and we've got our washers back. So, proof of the pudding, we fixed it. So we're going to put it all back together, double check the fix once it's all back together, tidy up that wiring harness and make sure it can't chafe against anything again. And yeah, then we'll have a fix. So yeah, let's get it back together. So she's all back together, all rebuilt, all back in line. We made sure, one, so that wire that had the chafe on it, we've sealed that up to make sure we don't get any water ingress or corrosion into that wire. And we've made sure that the wiring harness that runs underneath that wiper motor no longer chafes against the wiper motor. So just as a last check. Woohoo! Lots of wiperness, lots of washiness. That's another fix. Thanks for following along. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you like what you see, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out some of our other stuff on social media. We do Facebook and Instagram and stuff, and we'll see you in the next video. Remember, it's test, don't guess. Take care.